Hello everyone, my name is Rafal and welcome to my vlog. So first of all, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who participated in my headshot photography workshop in New York City. I had a fantastic time over there. I've met amazing photographers and this entire workshop was simply blast for me, and I hope everyone who was there also enjoyed it the same way I've enjoyed it. And the New York City is an amazing place. It's such an amazing energy, and I'm just so thankful I was able to go there and be there for a few days and actually absorb some of this cool stuff from this place. So thank you again. I'm not gonna mention any names, but you guys know everyone who was there. Thank you again for joining this whole thing, and I so appreciate that this whole thing basically could happen. So thank you for that. So today's vlog, I just want to talk about something which I already talked many times, and there's a lot of requests to actually talk even more about it. And I decided to do this vlog and then talk about one of the most popular question I've been receiving from my audience, and I want to talk about my camera and light settings. There's few things which changed over the last couple of years, and I want to address them and talk about them a little bit more into details. But before I do that, I just want to address a couple of things. Settings are only, I would say, one component of creating an image, and I know a lot of photographers getting a little bit confused about it because they think if they can copy some of the settings from the headshots, they can get the same results, and this is simply not true. There's a lot of other stuff involved to make good headshot. It's makeup, it's also retouching, so there's entire process to make, from the beginning to the end. So settings are one of them, but it's not everything, and I want to make this clear to a lot of photographers, and I want to address this because a lot of things kind of getting confused about it, and I've been getting those crazy emails where people think, well, I've done exactly the same settings and the images don't look the same. Also, another thing what I want to say, and this is also kind of very important thing, that everything depends on the environment you are in. Some of those settings, they don't apply everywhere. You have to just kind of work and address them and adjust them a little bit here, a little bit there, just to get the results. But again, the environment where you're in, are you shooting inside or outside? There's a windows, there's a lot of those little things which could impact your settings. So this is something that you have to keep in mind whenever you're shooting headshots. But there's some other stuff which I just want to address and talk about it a little bit more, because I've been doing kind of the same error for many years. I couldn't understand it. I had this, like, I would say, false beliefs put in my head, and I just couldn't kind of get rid of them till I don't know, one day something kind of clicked, and then I started doing some of those stuff properly. So I want to start and I want to talk about f-stops. This is something which I was confused for many years, and I think also a lot of those manufacturers out there, they try to, I would say, push on us that we really need fast lenses and we need to have this 2.8 lens because it's better, it's faster, and the images are greater, whatever. And I was religiously shooting f2.8 for many years, believing that I'm gonna get really nice and milky background, and the shallow field is gonna be beautiful and all this stuff. But what happened was, to shooting, let's say, 160 or 200 mil focal length, and having 2.8 f-stops, the area which is sharp is very narrow, and every small movement from you or from your subject put basically your image out of focus. And that's what caused a lot of issues, because the face on the headshot is the most important thing, and whenever you kind of have, let's say, half of the face or tip of the nose out of focus on one eye, whatever, if you have your subject turn one or the other way, it's not gonna look good. And I was struggling with this because what happened was, whenever I had this headshot sessions, half of my images simply went to the garbage because I couldn't use them because they were out of focus. And I was struggling with this, trying different methods, trying to shooting, you know, for example, on the tripod, making sure that my subject doesn't move and all this stuff. But that was just like making me uncomfortable and making my clients uncomfortable. And the simply solution for this was switching to 3.8 or higher, just to make sure everything is sharp and I have a little bit of room to play with, just in case, you know, someone moves and you know, basically there's still kind of placed a little bit of room to play with in case something like this happens. And I didn't know that for so many years. Believe it or not, I know it probably sounds stupid, but a year ago I've been shooting not lower than 3.5. I'm going even higher to 4.2 or 5.6 to make sure my images are sharp and I can move a little bit here and there and they will be not affecting my images. On the top of that, I want to add that definitely is going to also help you with retouching. If you have image where the face is entirely sharp, it's much easier on retouching, and that's extremely important because you don't want to have let's say tip of the nose out of focus or partially the face out of focus, because that's gonna just it's affecting the image and doesn't look good. So just if you have a lens which is, let's say, 4.0 and up, it's not as fast, don't worry about it. You still can make it, you still can create amazing images. And I don't shoot 2.8, even 3.2 anymore. This is actually history, and it's extremely important to remember that and don't be kind of confused, because shooting on 2.8 is going to just cause you more troubles and more problems than actually it's going to help you. So this is one of those things. The next thing what I want to talk about is shutter speed. So this is something which also is quite interesting, and that also kind of depends where you're shooting, you're inside or outside. Because I'm shooting most of my headshot session inside, I don't shoot high speed sync. If people don't know what that is, you guys can look it up. It's something which helps you with shooting outside, and when you have a lot of light and you have to kind of boost your shutter speed just to kind of maintain low f-stops. There's a lot of videos about it. So my rule is pretty much goes this way. So whenever, let's say, I'm shooting 160 mil, I'm trying to be around 160 of a second. If I'm going up, 200 is basically 1/200 of a second. But there's few important kind of facts which kind of go behind it, because when you, let's say, go 1/60 of a second or lower, every movement is going to be kind of registered, and in your images are going to be shaky, they're going to be blurry. So you have to make sure, especially when you're shooting with, let's say, 160 to 100 mil, that's something which you have to kind of remember, that every small movement is going to be kind of seeing on your images, and you have to keep your shutter speed fairly high to make sure that every movement is you're going to be safe to don't kind of affect your images. And then a lot of people forget about it. I was one of them for many years. So nowadays I'm trying to kind of, again, keep my shutter speed around 1/200 of a second. So that's something to remember, and make sure you don't go lower than that, because again, it's gonna just ruin your images and it's gonna be a lot of problems afterwards. And sometimes also what I've noticed is, when you, let's say, if you don't shooting tethered and you just look at the back of the screen, the images, they don't look blurry, but then when you put them on the screen all of a sudden this whole thing is blurry. And you have to also remember that don't trust the screen of the back of your camera, because sometimes can fool you and doesn't show you exactly what it's really happening. So keep that in mind, that sometimes just because the image looks, I would say, sharp on the back on the screen, you know, that means pretty much nothing. So the next thing is I want to talk about ISO. My starting point is 100, and depends on the environment. I'm going up or down. Usually, you know, I'm trying to stay around 100 to about 300. I never kind of like go beyond that. Or I could also have different settings I can address to kind of compensate that. So that's the kind of the way I work with that. So the next setting I want to talk about is white balance, and this is also something which is tricky nowadays, and a lot of people using different techniques. So I want to talk about what I do. Again, I'm setting this whole thing up manually, and my white balance is set up to 5000 Kelvin, because I've noticed that is the color of my light of this from the speed lights, and sometimes depends on the skin tone of the person. I'm going up or lower, or depends on the environment, but I'm actually keeping my white balance around 5000 Kelvin, and usually works really well. I don't use any color checkers and stuff like that. I tried to, didn't work the way I wanted, and also I know my speed lights really well, and I know that settings work really well. So basically you have to kind of also find the best white balance for the lights, the type of the lights you are using, match them, and then, you know, you're gonna be golden. You can shoot, and then even if you're gonna have some I would say differences, or you know, the white balance will be a little bit off, you can always address that in post-production. So now I would like to talk about one of the last settings on my camera, actually on my lens, is the focal length. And this is something also what I want to address, because a lot of people are asking me about that, and I think they're getting kind of this whole thing mixed up. So let's start with information which is extremely, I would say, important. All my headshots are shot between 160 and 200 mil. And this is basically my standard setup. I don't use any other ones, because I found that this compression on that focal length gives me the best results. So I've been getting a lot of questions like, can I shoot my headshots with, you know, 50mm lens, or 80-85, or even 105? Yes, you can, but this is something which you have to figure out if this is work for you, and the end results you're getting, you're happy with. Because I was trying different lenses and different focal lengths, but I found for the type of work what I do, and the images what you guys see on my work, all my shots are shot between, as I said, 160 mil and 200 mil. And I stick to it. I found the images having nice compression, the face looks quite incredible, and I'm basically using that all the time because it works. Again, I don't want to actually just create some kind of controversy about this, but this is the settings what I've been using when it comes to my lens settings. So I'll leave it at this, and I don't want to dig into more. If you guys have any specific questions, you can always ask, and we'll try to address that. So the last settings I want to talk about, my speed lights settings. So because this is something which I've also been getting a lot of questions, and basically again, my all speed lights are set up manually, and my standard and my starting point is 1/32 of the power. And there's few reasons behind that. Is first of all, you don't want to go full power, because when you start blasting someone with, you know, the full power, it's not gonna kind of feel comfortable for the person. Another thing what I've noticed, you're gonna be draining your battery like crazy. they're gonna start getting overheated and all this stuff. So you want to keep it at the level where you can continuously shooting and it's not going to affecting recycling the speed lights, and you can still maintain to do a lot of images. And the way I'm doing this, and this is going to be kind of like really quick information, which also hopefully help you guys to setting this whole thing up. I don't set up all my lights at once. I'm starting with my background light, take a shot, see what happens, then I'm actually moving on to my kicker light, and then the last thing is the main light. So I'm setting them up separately, but also I'm trying to kind of make sure that you know, everything is kind of done in stages. But for the main light, the kicker light is, as I said, is 132 of the power, and the background light depends on the location or depends on the background. I'm just going up or down from that 132 of the power. So you have to figure out basically the environment first before you start kind of like, you know, making any adjustments. So that's pretty much it. I know I've been dragging and I've been trying to explain as much, and I'm hoping this is going to be a little bit helpful for you guys. Don't get kind of intimidated by those settings. I know there's a lot of things which you can play with, but this is just the kind of starting point with all my work, and so you guys know what to look for and don't get kind of confused and don't have those kind of false informations which just put you into trouble and gonna make your life difficult. So that's something what I want to address in this vlog, to help you guys out to don't get, as I said, overwhelmed with some of this information we're getting from manufacturers and we're getting from other photographers that we should do this or we should do that. The best way also is try it yourself, see what works, see what doesn't, and if it doesn't work and you have some issues, again, it's good to sit down and try to analyze what is the problem and how we can fix it, and then just test it and basically see what's gonna work for you. Okay, I'm not gonna bore you even more. I hope that was interesting. Let's talk more. If you guys have any specific questions, please feel free to contact me. I'll be more than happy to answer all your questions regarding that topic. I know I've been receiving a lot of questions regarding that, so that's why I just want to address this and then help you guys out to have some kind of starting point with your headshot session. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching. We'll be in touch very shortly. Bye bye.